So here's the second part of my PBL series. So in this video I'll show you how to force good U-perms. So this is what it looks like and are solved like that. So the way I recognize the PL is a bit different from Debitory. So here we have a U-perm counterclockwise. There's a U-perm that's clockwise, but I would say these are the same U-perms even though they go different directions, because they are technically symmetrical, as you can see. And the way I'll define the U-perms is I'll put the bars on the left, and whatever in front is what I'll use. So if it's not opposite, that's one U-perm. And here's the other case, if it is opposite, it's the other U-perm. So it doesn't matter if it's in top or bottom layer. I define them as the same U-perm. So these are the same U-perm, and they're the opposites. And these are the same U-perms, they are not opposite. Here's some more examples of what I mean. Here's A perm. I would say these are the same A perm. You know, this one's clockwise, this one's counterclockwise. Because if you put the headlights in the back, the block is both on the left. And something even like a J perm. Technically this is JB and JA, but they're aligned the same way. So I would categorize these as the same. So looking at the two good U-perms, we have the bars on the left, and one of them is going to be opposite, one of them is going to be on the opposite. Same thing here, but it's flipped. The opposite's on bottom, the opposite's on top. So if you look at the two good UUs, they're going to have opposites U-perms. So they're going to have different U-perms. One of them's opposite, one of them's not. So when you're forcing these cases, you want to force one to be opposite, one to be not opposite. It doesn't matter which way, but either way it's going to force a good UU. So in this video I'll go through all the PLOs that go into U-perms and show you how to force them into these cases. Alright, I guess we'll start with the A-perms and go in order. So A-perms, when hold the headlights in back, and the first set is when we have the blocks on left, and the second one's when the blocks on right. So you see this block and you might think that maybe if you misalign the block, it will change which U-perm you get after you do the JJ, but it's actually not. So you're gonna get the same U-perm case and every time, not depending on however you align it. So yeah. So if you see the block on the left and do JJ, it's going to give you, if you put the blocks in the left, it's going to give you non-opposite. So you just have to remember that if it's on the left, not opposite. And for this one, it's on the right, it's going to give you opposite. So that's what you need to remember. I'll show you if you misalign it, you're still going to get opposite. So that doesn't matter. The only cases this is going to go into is opposite, and it's on the left, it's only going to go into not opposite. So next we have the F perm. So we got the blocks here, and the way you would turn this into a U perm is like this. So if you don't misalign it, so keep it like this, and you do the JJ, you're actually going to get the opposites. So yeah, if you misalign both of them, or if you just misaligned it, it's going to give you opposites. So it depends on how you align it, and it'll give you a different U-perm. So for example here, if you want them to have opposite U-perms, you would have to misalign one and not misalign the other. And as you can see, the one's going to be opposite, one's going to be not opposite. So next we have all the G-perms. So just like A-perms, no matter what way you align it, you can only get one U-perm, because obviously there's only one block to preserve and get a U-perm. So we have two sets here. One is this one. Well, all of them you're going to have the headlights in the back. The first set is where you're going to have the block on the left, and the second's when they're on the right side of the puzzle. So like here. Alright, so first one is on the left. It doesn't matter what you do, it's always going to give you an opposite. So opposites on both sides. Same thing here. Bars on the left, and you'll have the opposites. So if the bars on the right for the G-perm and misalign it and you solve it, it's going to be an opposite. Same thing here, it's going to be the opposite. So next is the J perms. So here are they. Again, the blocks, the headlights are gonna be in the back. So if you have this one and you align it and do it, it's gonna give you opposite for the U-perm. And if it's like this block and you misalign it and you do it, it's gonna give you a not opposite for the U-perm. So yeah, also like the only way to align it, if you align it the other way, it's just gonna solve the J perm. So that's the only U-perm you can get. So next we have the R perms. So you're gonna like get the headlights and back again, and you're gonna have this block. So it's either on the left or the right. So if it's on left and you misalign it, you're going to get the opposites, the opposite U-perm, and there's no other way to align it. If it's on right, it's going to be no opposite U-perms in front. So yeah, that's the only way to align it to get a U-perm. So next we have T-perm. So again, the headlights are in the back. This one's a nice case because you have two blocks and there are different blocks, so you can misalign it both ways and give you different U-perms. So if you misalign it, if we don't misalign it at all and we preserve these blocks, we're going to get an opposite for the U-perm. But if you misalign it and preserve the blocks on the left, you're going to get an opposite U-perms. So if you have U-perms, so these are pretty self-explanatory. They're just whatever U-perms they are, so an opposite, opposite. So next we have the V-perms. So as you can see in the V, there's a big block here, which means we can misalign it both ways. Yeah, so it's an opposite swap. So if you don't misalign it and you're just gonna preserve this block, it's gonna give you not opposite. And lastly, if you misalign it, it gives you opposite U-perms. So this is the last PLO you can actually do this with, so it's the Y-perm. And as you can see, there's two blocks here, so you can misalign it both ways. So if you preserve this block and don't align it, don't misalign it, you're gonna get the U-perm with the opposites in front. And lastly, if you do misalign it, you're gonna get the one with no opposites in front. So since this is a lot to take in, I guess I'll give you some tips on how to memorize these. So for these ones, this is T and Y. These are the algs that you learned pretty early in TB3. So these were the ones I learned for the corner permutation. So for these easy algs, you're going to align it for opposites, and you're going to misalign it for not opposites. Same thing for the Y-perm. If you align it, you're going to get opposites, and if you don't align it, you're going to get the opposites. So it's a really easy way to memorize the T and Y. So the next group is F and V. So these are the algs that the PLOs that you learn after like the basics like T and Y in TB3. So that's how I remember these groups are the same. So these cases will be the exact opposite of the T and Y. So if you align it, you're gonna get the no opposite U-perms. And if you misalign it, you're going to get the opposites in front U-perms. Same exact thing with the V-perms. You can just not misalign it and you're going to get opposites in front. Misalign it, you'll get the opposite U-perm. So here are the J-perms, they're their own separate category kind of. So if you remember, if you get this J-perm, you'll just get the opposites. And the way I remember these ones, and obviously if you do this one, it's going to be the opposites. The way I remember these is pretty simple. I just think of the U-perms. So take a look at this U-perm. This is one of the opposites. The first move is going to not align anything. So this is a slice move for this alg. Same thing here. If you don't align it, you're going to get the opposite in front U-perm. So the way I remember the last one is the same thing. The start of this alg is going to be a single move with misalignment. So you're gonna think about it the same way with this J-perm. If you misalign it, you're going to get the one with the opposite. So that's how I remembered the J-perms. So the next group, I guess, is the A-perms. So this is like an alg that you would learn pretty early on in Div 3 as well. So with this alg, no matter which way you line it, it's obviously going to be the same U-perm. So if we have it on left, it's going to give you the opposites, the opposites in front, U-perms. And if the block's on the right, highlights in back, you're going to get the opposites in front. So the last set is just pretty much the remaining pieces, so it's just R and G. So yeah, these are all going to be the same thing. If the block's on the left, you're going to get the opposites in front. So that's for both the G's and the R's. So here's the R perm, and the same thing. If the block's on the left, no matter what, you're going to get the U perms with the opposite in front. Same thing here, but if it's on the right, it's going to be the not opposite in front. Same with the R perms. It's on the right, not opposite in front for the U perm. So in my last video on PBL, I covered 2 CP PBL. So that's when you do PBL with 2 CP algs. And with this one, you can just do them with a CP, then a double U perm. So I'm just gonna cover when to use which. So here's they're both the same case, but one has the bar flip. So we have AA on both. So we have an option here. We can do the 2CP version of it, which is just to JJ, JJ, and we're done. And the other option is just to do JJ and then UU. So they're both pretty good options, but you can just decide which one. So for this case, I would say it depends on how the bar's flipped. For example, for this one's AA, the bar's not flipped, and JJ, JJ will not flip the bar. Therefore, I would just do the 2CP version, which is just to do JJ, and then do another JJ. If we did CP EP on that one, we would actually have to cancel into a bar flip, which is just bad. But this one already has the bar flip. So if you notice, we're gonna try the JJ method here. We're gonna get JJ with a bar flip, which is just not that good. But for this case, since the bar is flipped, we can do regular JJ into good UU, which flips the bar, which means we won't need to cancel any bar flipping algs. So we can just do this and we're done. So here's another case, but this time it's going to be GG. So this is an example of a case where it doesn't matter what you do, it's going to be the same bar flip. So for example here, we're going to do the CP EP thing first. So these are, one's going to be left, one's going to be right. So they're going to be opposite U perm, which is good. And we're going to be able to get good UU and the bars flipped, which means no bar flip at the end. But if you remember the 2CP out for this, we're gonna hold it like this, and we're just gonna do JJ, and then we get NN. If you notice there's also no bar flip. So that's an example of a case where it doesn't really matter. And from there you can just use personal preference on whatever version of the PBL you like better. So either the CP to 2 UU, or you can just do the 2 CP algs. So I'm gonna wrap this video up with a few examples. So first one's here. We have A perm, Y perm. So for the A perm, highlights in back. The block is on the right side, which means we have an opposite U perm on top. So we want to force a not opposite U perm on bottom, and we see the Y perm. So depending on how we align it, we're gonna change the U perm. So if you remember, if we keep it in alignment like this, it's gonna give us opposite, which is not what we want because the top's gonna be opposite. So we're gonna misalign it. So we get not opposite, not opposite, opposite. That's gonna be a good UU. So we're just gonna do the EP. And as you can see, we successfully got the good UU. So here's the next case. We have the T perm and then we have a G perm. So both of them highlights in the back. T perm, we can change it, so let's just go to the G perm first. For the G perm, we have the block on the left. And if you remember, block on the left means it's going to be opposite no matter what. So for the T perm, if you keep it in alignment like this, it's going to be opposite, which is not what we want, because we want different U perms on both sides. So if you misalign the top layer, it's going to give us not opposite. So that's going to be what we want, the opposite, opposite, and that's going to be a good U perm. So here are the last two. First off, we have this one. We're going to see we have a G perm and F perm. So for the G perm, blocks on the left side, so it's going to be an opposite. And now we got the F perm. Now if you remember, it does change with alignment. So since this one's opposite, since the block's on the left, the bottom should not be opposite. So if you remember, misaligning it was actually going to give us opposite. So we're going to not misalign it and get an opposite. So now we have opposite, not opposite, JJ. This is going to give us a good UU. So lastly, we have this case, it's an AA, so AA. Highlights are on the back. Both cases, the blocks is on the right. So this one's going to be opposite no matter what. Bottom's going to be opposite no matter what, which means that we're going to get a bad UU, which sucks. So I'll show you right now. Bad UU. And it doesn't matter which way you line it, you're going to get that no matter what. So this is one of the bad cases where there's no way to force a good U perm. For this case, I'll just do the 2 CP algs because there's no good UU solution. So that's pretty much it for forcing the good UU PBL. So thanks for watching. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comments below.